Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go. Fusion Mobile.
Hello and welcome to Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. My name is Chinna, and we are here for
Fusion Mobile.
Our study session this time will be on alternative economic systems. The first question we should ask is, what is an economic system? During the introductory part of this course, the subject, where you have meaning and scope of economics, we mentioned something about economic systems. To reiterate or to recall that, economic systems is a mechanism which actually determines the method of decision making and ownership of resources within a society. Now, that means that every economic system is what drives the economy and the methods by which activities are carried out and who makes the decisions on production within the economy. Now, the first thing, the economic system, that means the economic system now definitely determines how economic problems of a society will be addressed, or who will solve it, and how the method by which it will be solved. First of all, the problems which arise from scarcity and choice of resources and how to use the resources, choice on how to use, what to do with the available scarce resources, well, it is the method by which those decisions are taken is determined by either of these types of economic system. Now, there are three basic or alternative economic systems. The first one is the capitalist economic system. The capitalist economic system. The capitalist economic system is an economic system which is characterized by private ownership of factors of production. And that means that economic decisions and how to use resources are taken by the private individuals. Now, meaning that definitely in that case, the output of factors of the output of production will be determined by what the private individuals determine. Now, eventually, that means also that within a private, the capitalist economic system, that it is the profit of the organization, the motive of production, that drives the decisions on what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, which are the problems of the economy, basically. Now, the capitalist economic system can also be referred to as a free enterprise economy, a market economy, It can also be referred to as a deregulated economy, also referred to as a liberalized economy, and it can be seen as a laissez-faire or free association economy. Either of these refer to the capitalist economic system. Now, the capitalist economic system by its nature has certain characteristics from what we have actually mentioned. Let's look at certain characteristics. Characteristics of capitalist economic system. You have number 1, private ownership. Of factors of production. Two, no government participation. In economic activities. 3, profit motive for production. 4, price system determines allocation and use of resources. Production decisions of firms determine the output. Now, these are characteristics saying that private ownership of factors of production, that means that within the factors of production, within the capitalist economic system, factors of production are owned by individuals, private individuals. Now, secondly, we have that there is no government participation in economic activities. Not that the government doesn't exist in society, but they do not really participate in economic activities. Now the third one, profit serves as the motive of production. That means the kind of products that are to be produced are determined by what? The profit. What drives production in a capitalist economy is the profit to be made from the production. Then the price, the allocation and use of resources is determined by the price system, which is the interaction of the forces of demand and supply. Now, the last is the production decision of firms determine the output. It is whatever the private individuals decide that becomes the output of the firm. Now, a few questions will be popping up on your screen. You take a look at them and we'll be back with you. So, we were talking about the characteristics of the capitalist economic system. Now, having talked about that, as an economic system, once you adopt it in a society, definitely there are certain ills and there are certain advantages. There are the pros and cons of capitalist economic system. So what are the merits or advantages of adopting merits or advantages? Now, first things, number 1, is that it ensures, or there is, rapid economic development. 2, consumers have a wide range of choice of goods to choose from. Three, efficiency. Efficiency in allocation of resources. Number four is in allocation of resources of a country. Now these economy when you adopt the capitalist economic system, you have merits such as rapid or faster economic development. Consumers have a wide range of goods and services to choose from, which means they have this, they can always, they are not limited, their choice is not limited. Another one, there is efficiency in allocation of resources. Because profit is the motive and resources are limited, private individuals do not want to waste what they have. The next thing is that it encourages initiative and use of talents. That means you find it actually makes people to start thinking on new ways of doing things and making people to get discovered. People are encouraged to make use of what they have to actually produce. The next one is that it encourages invention and technological development, that is use of machines. It is when those initiatives are encouraged, then the aftermath is development of technology and other ways and technical know-how. Then it ensures self-reliance of a country. By the time the economy encourages different people to produce, then there will be competition. When it encourages competition, then the economy will have so much to actually export. Now, the countries in the world that are much more capitalist than socialist include USA and some other industrialized nations. Now, the next part, of course, as it has advantages, it is also bedeviled with some problems or demerits, disadvantages of capitalist system. First of is that the consumers are exploited. Two, there is no uniform economic development. Three, there is a wide gap, wide income inequality. Four, certain goods of low profit will be short in supply or low in production, will be low in production or short in supply. Also, wastage of resources due to duplication of efforts. And these, at least 5, talk about the various, some of the disadvantages we could get once a society is running a capitalist economic system. The first one is that the consumers are exploited. We have already mentioned earlier that profit is the motive of production. So in other words, that means that when the society is guided by the force of demand and supply, the producer is only selling to the highest bidder or to the person that can afford it, not according to the need of the person, of the society. And the next one, there is no uniform economic development. Definitely, even though the economy develops faster, only certain sectors or the profitable sectors actually develop faster than the others. Then the next one is that there is a wide range of income inequality. Certain goods are actually less profitable than others. So which means that these goods will be short in production because nobody will be encouraged to actually produce or supply such because of the profit margin involved. Now examples are like the things that are public goods, as we would refer to them. They become short in supply. Then wastage of resources due to duplication of efforts, because the same thing one person is doing, because then one person is doing it, another person is doing it, then the resources that would have been invested in other things will be focused on the same set of things. Now also it can lead to unhealthy rivalry among firms or individuals because of the competition it creates. Now these are the things that relate to capitalist economic system. The second one, now the second part of this is the second type is the socialist economic system. The socialist system is actually the other side, the reverse side or the converse side of the capitalist economic system. It talks about an economic system where everything is no longer calculated, is no longer controlled by and resources are not owned by the private individuals, but this time it is owned by the state or the government. Now the socialist economic system therefore means that the factors of production is owned by the state and controlled by the government. Therefore, the production decisions on what to and how and for whom to produce is actually determined by decisions of the state through the central planning authorities. Now, when this thing we call what socialist system or the socialism now could also be referred to as a centrally planned economy. Centrally planned economy. It can also be referred to as a regulated economy. It is also referred to as a command economy. regulated economy, a command economy, centrally planned economy, or you can call it socialist economic system. Now, these are alternative names for the socialist economic system. Now, the socialist economic system definitely has certain characteristics. Number one, characteristics of that of socialist economic system. Number one, all factors of production are owned by the state or government. Two, number two, production decisions are taken by the government. Three, resources are allocated by legislation and rationing. Rationing. Private enterprise is discouraged. Now, these are characteristics of the socialist economic system. Now, in the next part of it, we talk about advantages. Advantages of socialist economic system. You have number one, consumer are protected against exploitation. Two, there is what? There is uniform economic development. And growth. Three, resources are carefully planned before rationing. Four, there is no gap there is equality in distribution of income. Then now these and some others will be among the advantages an economy would enjoy when it adopts a capitalist economy. Consumers are protected against exploitation, which means that prices are controlled. Then, secondly, there is uniform economic development and growth because there is careful planning and allocation of resources with the general interest of the whole society at large. Hence, it considers areas that need attention, and those areas are also looked into at time and the other. Then, since resources are carefully planned, but they are all distributed by rationing, not by the profit motive, as against what happens in the capitalist economic system. There is equality or equity in the distribution of income. That means there is no gap between the rich and the poor. What you only get is what you will be enough for you, not what you have worked for. Then, of course, when there is no competition, then it prevents unhealthy rivalry among firms and individuals. Then let's look at the disadvantages or the problems. Disadvantages of the socialist economic system comes from certain things, of course. First of is that the rate of economic development is slow rate. Two, consumers' choice is limited. 3, initiative is discouraged. 4, distribution, inefficient distribution. Allocation and use of resources. Discourages competition. So in this case now, because all the segments are considered all at once, then the rate of economic growth will be limited. Secondly, that the consumer's choice is limited, definitely, because other goods, it is not, there is no wide range of goods that are produced, so you cannot choose. Human beings lose the freedom of choice. That means consumer sovereignty is denied. That's another one. Consumer sovereignty is denied. Definitely. The other thing is that initiative is discouraged. You are not actually, it is not how much you work that you get, but it is just by rationing that whatever that you need, that is what you get. Then inefficient allocation and use of resources, because definitely it is not where you allocate the resources that it will be well used, and you don't know who is using it. Then discourages competition, because definitely it is just one set of people making the decision, so there is no form of competition. And the last one, called consumer sovereignty, is denied. That means the consumer has no voice in saying what they want or do not want. That wraps that up on socialist economy system. Now, countries that could practice this include Russia, Germany of those days, China, India, and so on. Now, the last one, you have the mixed economic system. Mixed economy. Now, the mixed economy is a combination of both capitalist and socialist economic systems. Definitely, such an economic system actually looks at is actually the kind of economic system practiced by all the countries in the world. It is just that some are more capitalist than socialist, while some are more socialist than capitalist. But every country in the world, in the modern world nowadays, practice a mixed economic system. Now, a mixed economic system is an economic system where resources are jointly owned and managed by and controlled by both the private individuals and the state. That means that some sectors and some functions in the economy are undertaken by private individuals, some decisions are taken by private individuals, while some are actually taken by the state. Now, the state is the government. The government takes charge of the part of in a mixed economic system. The economy is divided into two, where you have the private sector and the public sector. The government takes charge of funding and financing and controlling the public sector, while the private sector is undertaken and controlled by the private individuals. So while profit is the motive for production in the private sector, in the public sector it is social or human welfare that is the motive for production. So with these things, the economy is at a balance. Some of those shortfalls in public goods will be taken care of by the government, while the private sector takes care of profit-oriented goods which will increase the choice of the consumers. Now, the next thing you will see on your screen is a set of questions that will pop up on the topic of the study session. You take a look at that, and where you have issues, you go back and replay the video, and I'm sure you'll get them.